Welcome to the South Fulton Good Things Show. I am Fulton County Commissioner William Bill Edwards. By now, as many of you know, our office has used this program to highlight many good things happening in unincorporated South Fulton. Well, in this edition, we need to inform you about a topic that would have a devastating effect on South Fulton. We're talking today about the pending legislation in the Georgia General Assembly that, if passed, could have a tremendous impact on the South Fulton community. They are House Bills 170, 171, and 172. The legislation as proposed would reduce the county's property tax revenue, restructure the Board of Commissioners and district lines, and change the protected rights of Fulton County employees. The Board of Fulton County Commissioners took an official action to oppose the House bills, and now many of us on the board are trying to educate the public on just how crippling the legislation could be if passed. So today, I want to look at each of the bills and simply provide you with the facts of what this could mean for not just South Fulton residents, but for all Fulton County residents. The first piece of legislation is House Bill 170. House Bill 170 would have a significant impact on Fulton County government, particularly in the area of revenue. This bill poses a referendum to increase Fulton County's homestead exemption from the current amount of $30,000 to $60,000. House Bill 170 also proposes to cap Fulton County's general fund millage rate. So just what would be the impact of this one bill? I've invited the Chief Financial Officer for Fulton County, Mr. Patrick O'Connor, to explain. Patrick, thank you for being here.
I appreciate being here, Commissioner.
Explain to us a little bit, Patrick, about what the impact of this particular bill would do to us.
Well, basically, House Bill 170 restricts Fulton County from raising its millage rate starting in 2013 and 2014. And then when it comes to 2015, the bill says there has to be a supermajority vote on the Board of Commissioners to adjust the millage rate. Also, the bill states that effective on 2015, they're going to raise the homestead exemption from $30,000 to $45,000, and then the following year to $60,000. Fulton County already has the highest exemption in the state at $30,000. Going from $30,000 to $60,000 would mean a loss of revenue of almost an additional $40 million. Let me state, in the last several years, of all the local major metro county governments, Fulton County is the only local government that hasn't raised its millage rate. All the surrounding communities have raised their millage rate by 2 to 4 mills. In the last 3 or 4 years, Fulton County has drastically cut back on employment, has taken many cost controls, etc. We are probably the most physically conservative government in the metro region. Also, needless to say, we go out to bond issues, etc., and the credit rating agencies give us the highest investment grade possible. In the last several years, Fulton County got record low interest rates on its tax anticipation notes and borrowings. So the independent credit rating agencies look very, very favorable on Fulton County. In the last so many days, I've read so much in the press and so much, I hate to say it, but there's so much misinformation being put out on Fulton County, which is just not true. They're trying to control our millage rate, yet the surrounding counties have raised their millage rates 2 to 4 mills, and we haven't raised our millage rate at all. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know I've been here 13 years, and you've always said that, you know, we should raise our millage rate, but we've always said no, and we've always went through things and come out clear. So as I hear you say today, there is no evidence, no substantial evidence that would imply why we should raise the millage rate.
Well, we are at a point now. Fulton County has done a great job, but within the last 3 years, you know, our tax digest has declined over 20%. In the last 3 years, we've had our tax billings go from $455 million a year down to $378 million a year. So effectively, the Board of Commissioners have given the general fund tax, people who pay the general fund tax, they've given a $77 million tax cut. Nobody else has done that.
Mm-hmm. At $60,000 in a homestead exemption, dollar-wise, what are we looking at?
It would be an additional loss of revenue of over $40 million. And if that were to go into effect, it would have serious ramifications on the programs that Fulton County delivers. The problem with this legislation, it's all one-sided. It addresses revenue cuts, but there's nothing in the legislation saying what the expenditure consequences are going to be. It's really a disastrous piece of legislation.
So we're talking about $40–50 million
Yes, sir. Yes,
off
sir.
of the top, and when that's what you have to deal with when the budget comes into you on day one.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the possibilities of some service cuts would be?
You can be looking at, cuts to Grady Hospital, cuts to the library centers, cuts to the senior centers, cuts to the health centers, some adjustment down in the Justice Center. I mean, the cuts will be broad-based and they will be drastic.
Yes. Patrick, it's been a lot said to them, the restructuring of Fulton County, that we need reform. From a financial perspective, what are you seeing in terms of the possibility that we do need reform or we do not need reform from a pure financial standpoint?
Let me state, in the last year, once again, there's been many misstatements by numerous politicians about Fulton County. We have almost 1,000 less employees than we had 5 years ago. As a matter of fact, as you well know, 7 or 8 months ago, an AJC reporter did a very thorough analysis on our employment levels and stuff, and we came out looking very, very good. And this was the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which always doesn't do favorable stories on us, but they did a very favorable story on the amount of employees we have compared to other jurisdictions. So to answer your question, I think Fulton County is more efficient and effective than any of the surrounding metro counties.
When you prepare a budget, when you look at our financial position, Patrick, you don't look at north or south when you're preparing that? Because a lot of the comments have been made, we're not getting our share. How do you respond to that?
That's totally untrue. That's totally untrue. We put together a fair and balanced budget. A lot of effort goes into it. A lot of work goes into it. And we don't look at it in terms of north and south. We look at it as we have 1 million constituencies in Fulton County, and we try to treat them all fair.
Yeah. Of course, several years ago, the people in unincorporated Fulton County voted 85-15 to remain unincorporated. We hear a lot of conversation about, them being unincorporated is a drain on us. Is there any logic to that statement?
No, none whatsoever. South Fulton, unincorporated Fulton, the services that are provided to them down there are by a completely separate tax set in the Special Services District Fund, and people down there either vote to agree with that tax or not agree with that tax. And as you well know, they've all agreed with the adjustments in that millage rate for the services down there because they're happy with the services that are being delivered down there.
Mm-hmm. Fiscal responsibility is always the job that we have in Fulton County. And over the years, tell us about some of our fiscal issues that we've had, that we've come out of. For example, I've been here 13 years. I've never seen a deficit.
No, we've had. Let me back up a second here. I want to thank the Board of Commissioners for the support they've given me, and I probably have one of the strongest finance staffs in the country. I myself am a CPA, certified public finance officer. I have 5 CPAs on my staff. The finance department is very, very well qualified, and I'm proud to say that we give the Fulton County Commission and the county manager very good advice. And 99% of the time, the board listens to our advice, and that's kept us in very, very good shape.
And you've won a lot of awards.
Oh, yeah, we win. The finance department constantly wins major national awards from the Government Finance Officers Association. I'm very, very proud of that. But the bottom line is we stay on track of everything, we stay on top of everything, and we keep the county manager and the Board of Commissioners well informed, and that's the bottom line where we've maintained a good position.
So we have the right people doing the right thing. We have a body of people who know what they're doing.
Very smart.
How they're doing, very smart people. And had it been an issue, if there was a red light to be raised,
we raise it quick.
We raise it quick.
Yeah, we're out in front of the game.
Okay, good. What about our bond rating?
Our bond rating is very high investment grade. As I stated earlier, in the last several years, we've done library bond issues, we've done water sewer refundings, we've done tax anticipation notes, and we have gotten record low interest rates on all those offerings for the simple reason Fulton County has an excellent reputation. The credit rating agencies are very, very familiar with myself, my finance staff, that we're very credible. And the bottom line, in the last 15 years, Fulton County, 15 years ago, had over a 14 millage rate on the general fund. Today, it's 10.28 mils. Our millage rate has almost dropped 4 mils in the last decade and a half. Also, we have the lowest water and sewer rates in the metro region. So once again, contrary to all the noise I'm hearing in the legislature, Fulton County has the lowest millage rate, lowest water and sewer rates, high credit ratings, so it speaks for itself.
And we continue to have in our general fund, we continue to have a surplus.
Yes, we have a fund balance reserve policy, and we've consistently met that the entire 16 and a half years I've been here. Yes, sir.
Just for a minute, explain to the listening audience about the fund balance and what that means. How do we come up with that figure?
Very simply, if just like, let me say it in simple terms. If you're a household and you have a household income of $50,000 a year, you might want to put aside at least $5,000, a month's contingency in case you get sick, you're out of work, blah, blah, blah. Well, the county's general fund budget is around $56 million. I'm sorry, $560 million, and we basically keep about 8.5% to 9% of that number in cash reserves. So we have at least approximately $50 million set aside for emergencies, etc., that we just got in a reserve.
So in your professional opinion, Patrick, as the Chief Financial Officer for this county, you feel that we're in good shape?
Yes, sir.
And that it's no need for this type of litigation?
No, sir. This House Bill 170 is, to me, it's a total intrusion on the local government. Why should somebody in South Georgia, North Georgia, set our millage rate? It's ridiculous.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for all that you do and being an outstanding Chief Financial Officer for this county. When we come back, we'll take a look at House Bill 171, the bill that changes the district lines and district commissioners. And later, we will talk to Wayne Hines, who represents the Fulton County Professional Firefighters Union 3920, about why his group is fighting House Bill 172. Stay tuned with us. Welcome back to the South Fulton Good Things Show. Today we are talking about the current legislation being proposed at the state capitol that could significantly impact Fulton County government, its residents, and its employees. We just heard from the county CFO, Patrick O'Connor, on how disastrous House Bill 170 could prove to be for Fulton County. Now I want to inform you about House Bill 171. House Bill 171 seeks to change the current commission district lines for the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. This bill would increase the number of district commissioner seats and eliminate the second at-large seat that currently exists. This bill changes the distribution and layout of the current geographic commission districts. And in South Fulton, that would mean that District 7 would no longer exist. Parts of the current District 7 would be in the newly drawn District 5, and other portions would be in the newly drawn District 6. For instance, Westlake High School, the Bowden Center, the Wolf Creek Amphitheater, and the neighboring subdivisions would all be in the new District 5. And speaking of District 5, it too would change. In fact, much of District 5 would be in the newly drawn District 6, including the Harriet G. Darnell Senior Multipurpose Facility. So that you know, back in 2011, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners retained an independent redistricting consultant who developed a proposed Fulton County redistricting plan. This plan and map fully complied with the federal and state law, including the Equal Protection Clause of the United States and the Federal Voting Rights Act. After the Board of Commissioners passed this plan, it was presented in December 2011 to the General Assembly for consideration. Legislators took no action on the plan we submitted, but rather created a redistricting plan of their own. The Fulton County Board of Commissioners has gone on record through its resolution to express that if adopted, House Bill 171 would substantially reduce the ability of minorities to elect candidates of their choice, which is in a violation of the federal law. One more note about House Bill 171, it also establishes staggered terms for Fulton County Commissioners. The final bill I want to bring to your attention today is House Bill 172. House Bill 172 seeks to make changes to the Fulton County's civil service system for employees. Any employee who is hired after the adoption of this bill would be automatically placed in an unclassified status. That means employees would lose their protection status. Already, a number of the unions have expressed concern about the piece of legislation, including the Fulton County Professional Firefighters Union 3920. Wayne Hines is the president of the union. Welcome to the show, Wayne.
Thank you for having me here today, Commissioner. It's a pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about your opposition to this bill and what the union is doing.
Our opposition to this bill is that we would take and lose rights for the firefighters, the police officers, the people in Fulton County that go out and do the jobs for the citizens. As a firefighter, it's my right to do a job for this county. And if I lose my protection under House Bill 172, it's a disaster. It's a disaster for me, it's a disaster for everybody. If you have, let me give you an example, Commissioner. If you have a criminal out on the street, nobody wants a criminal on the street. But before you put that criminal in jail, you go through, you give him a trial and you convict him. If you're going to have an employee and you're going to get rid of that employee deserves to have a fair and equitable means. Nobody wants a bad employee. I don't want a bad employee on the fire truck with me, but I want a good employee. And I think any employee should have the right to have a fair hearing to determine their job. They have families that they want to protect. They need to protect them, but they should be treated fairly and equally.
Well, they say they'll come to you and say that the state employees are unclassified. And obviously they're saying it works for us, it should work for you. Or what is your position on that? Well,
my first problem with it is that the Georgia State House is trying to dictate to a county in this state how to operate. The people in Fulton County elected 7 members of the public to come up here and serve and run this county. District 7 elected you, and we're grateful that you're here. But they didn't elect the General Assembly to run Fulton County. We need Fulton County government. We need Fulton County commissioners to run Fulton County.
What have been some of the things that you've been doing in regards to this House bill, maybe at the state legislature or in your meetings with your union?
I have been at the Capitol probably since the inception of the legislative session. I am been up there opposed to this bill. I've spoke to almost all the authors of the bill. I have all of our union members and even non-union members too. They're impacted by this bill also. I have them calling, writing, emailing, and I encourage the citizens to do this. Their legislatures to let them know that they're opposed to this bill and they deserve to stay where they're at. And if it should be an unclassified position and if there's any changes to be made to the Fulton County employees, the Board of Commissioners needs to make that, not the Gold Dome.
And we did at one time with the judicial system after heated debate. We were able to, the judicial system was able to unclassify their employees as they move forward. One of the problems I have with it, Wayne, is that if I'm hired after the bill, I'm going to be sitting next to a person who has the protection. I don't have the protection. That's not fair. The second thing is, if I'm promoted and I'm classified, then I could be moved into a system where I'm not classified because of promotion. Talk a little bit about that.
That is another issue. We do have, as you state, a new employee would be there. It is the opinion of the union's attorney, Mitchell Benjamin. He is an excellent labor attorney. His opinion is that if this bill goes forward, any employee that goes through a new probationary period, and every time an employee is promoted, they have, by county policy, a new probation period, they can be unclassified. So the only way, if you're hired in now and you're a firefighter 1, and you're at this point in time, if you go to try and be promoted and earn more for your family, to do more and further yourself in your career, you're going to be penalized for it by the State House of Georgia. And that is completely unfair for them to try and do better, to try and perform more and learn more and do more, and then be penalized and put in an unclassified position. We already have employees, supervisors that are in the unclassified position. They're the at-will employees.
And you're talking about some of our lowest paid employees on the pay scale who go out and risk their lives every day, who have to suffer with the fact that if I don't come in looking right one day, or if I don't have my shirt pressed or something like that, then someone can dismiss me. That's unfair.
That is absolutely unfair. And you're correct. It is mostly the employees that, on average, make an average of about $40,000 a year. It's not the employees that are making north of that figure, and even less than $100,000. There's very few employees in the county, I don't think most people realize it, that make over $100,000 a year. Most county employees average in the $40,000 to $40,000 range. Mm-hmm. And when you see that, that's a big change.
Well, it is. Is it my understanding that the rank and file of the union supports your efforts in terms of trying to turn this bill around?
I have yet to find a person that is either in the union. All the union members I have found fully supported. They're actively working against it. The non-union members, I haven't found one of those that do not support it. I've talked to police officers. I've talked to firefighters. You know, there's probably very few employees that I haven't talked to in regards to this, but all the firefighters that I've talked to have spoken just outrageously against this.
Talk to me a little bit about your reception when you go to the Gold Dome as you talk about these issues. Are you getting a warm reception, or are people willing to hear from you? Or?
Everybody is willing to hear from me. Some are more open and willing to see a different point of view. Others are very close-minded. They have their ideas fixed and will not open their mind up about it. I think Representative Martin has asked for another meeting. That's Chuck Martin. He's, I don't want to call his district right now, I might get it wrong, but he has asked to talk to me about it, and he wants to understand the impact to the firefighters and the police officers in here and how it will go with them. And I have met with Representative Lynn Riley, and we discussed it. She's very reluctant to change her position. In fact, she's adamant that this bill will go through, but if I have any say in it, and,
yeah,
it will not.
I understand that you've also been traveling around with the local representative of ASHME, which is our local union here, and has that been effective for you in terms of not just the firemen's union, but other unions who are joining forces with you? Because those people on the Gold Dome, you know, you put them there. Unions play a big part in getting them there. Do you think they realize this, and how effective has ASHME being with you been for you?
Representative, well, Greg Fann is the president of ASHME, and he has been very effective. He's a very good, we do call him the preacher man, but he is an excellent speaker. Yeah. And I do believe that the folks over there at the Gold Dome have been very receptive now. The Atlanta Labor Council, AFSCME, the AFL-CIO is adamantly opposed to this bill. They understand that it strips the protection away from a working person, and the person that's just trying to provide for their family. I have a 9-year-old daughter at the house. I want to protect her. I want her to have the protections I have, and I need to send her to college, Commissioner. So.
And that's a good point, because, you know, and not just for ourselves, but as for the workers who are coming in, the little kids now who are coming in to occupy those jobs. That's what we're fighting for. Let's say, for example, lastly, this bill passes the State House. Mm-hmm. Where is the union prepared to go from there?
At this point in time, we're going to go to the the Senate, and we'll go to of course, to Governor Deal. We're going to go as far as we need to fight this and ensure the rights of the employees of this county, and especially the firefighters. We risk a lot. We've had 4 firefighters killed in the line of duty in this county. You're aware of that, very much so. And I think it would be just disastrous to change anything of how these firefighters are treated. We risk a lot. We understand what our risks are, but we need a little protection, and the Gold Dome's trying to take it away from us.
Well, keep the fight up. Just remember that it ain't over till it's over. We join you in the fight to make sure that we have a great county, for not just for ourselves, but for future employees, future commissioners who come in, and they'll have something to work for. Thank you so much, Fane.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it.
All right. As we wrap up today's show, I hope you have a better understanding of why the board, by a vote of 5-2, officially opposed these 3 pieces of legislation. As our resolution states, we believe House Bills 170, 171, and 172 would have a negative effect on how Fulton County could provide essential services, on the voting rights of the residents, and the treatment of our employees. As you ponder how you may feel about the legislation, let our office know. Contact our office at 404-612-3079 or email me at william.edwards@fultoncountyga.gov. Thanks for watching this very important edition of the South Fulton Good Things Show. I am Commissioner William Bill Edwards, and I'll see you next time.